The challenge has been on the air for over 25 years. In its latest iteration, the Challenge USA, it pits MTV vets against CBS reality titans. And joining me now is champion and all-star Jonna Mannion. Jonna, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I'm so excited about this. How are you?
Of course. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I feel weird right now because it's, no, because it's like, usually last couple times I've done exit, interviews or anything like that, it's been a different outcome. So this is interesting for me.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. All right. My first question for you, and I'm just really curious, I don't know, your thoughts on this. So what was it like competing on CBS versus, let's say, your old seasons on MTV or even All Stars on Paramount Plus?
So I will say the biggest difference that stands out to me is, so normally when I walk into a season or whatever, you have just like a handful of very strategic players, right? And then those people kind of navigate everyone else, whatever. This season is hands down the hardest, most complicated thing I've ever been a part of. Like, no, I'm serious. Like, so we walk in, there's like 18 people from Survivor, from Big Brother. Like, their literal whole gameplay is votes and counting numbers and all this stuff. So it's not just being in there with a handful of, smart strategic people. It's like every single cast member is smart and strategic. So yeah, I wasn't ready for that.
Well, for sure. And a lot of them come with that PTSD from their own failures on past CBS shows. So it's got to be a lot to work with there. Okay. Something else that I know is really important to you is that you're a mom, and it's something you talk about a lot on the show. So do you feel like coming back after being away from the challenge for years and being a mom now, do you feel like that's changed like your why or your fight on the show?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's literal physical proof. Like, before I said this to you, but before I was kind of playing a game, navigating it, just like, whatever, these are my friends, like, this is my real life. And, the biggest change in who I was before and who I am now is now when I walk into a house, I'm literally like, okay, if I'm going to even spend a week away from my kids, like, I don't care about any of you. You're all going down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it takes everything off the table. Like, there's no longer any rules of like, this is morally right or this is whatever. Like, I don't, when I'm there, I don't care. Like, I'm there for one thing and one thing only. So
yeah, that makes total sense. Now, for people that follow the show, kind of religiously in a way, they know that you returned on All Stars after being away for some time, and had a really successful run. Finished in the final and then got first place twice back to back. So tell me what that was like, and did you think that you had what it takes to win the challenge?
So the crazy thing is so before, like, I always in the back of my head and mind thought I had what it took, but I just wasn't ready yet, and after All Stars 1 and being able to like just have a taste of, hey, this is the first time I made the final, like, and just having that opportunity, I'm like, if this ever happens again, it's like they say, like, luck is preparation meets opportunity, right? If I ever have this opportunity again, I'm going to be the most prepared person. And that's what I did. I wasn't sure if there was going to be any more seasons, and you never know if you're going to get casted again, but I'm like, you know what, if I get this lucky chance again, like, I'm going to come in and be the best version of myself to be able to take the title.
Yeah. Now, something that stood out to me that you mentioned in the premiere. So if we provide some context here, you and Wes were the winners of All Stars 3. And so you mentioned in the premiere that Wes was probably your closest ally in the game. So what has that friendship with him been like? Yeah.
Well, right now it's a little rocky. No, I'm just kidding. So the funny thing is what a lot of people don't know is, so like the first season that I was supposed to be on was Fresh Meat 2. So, which was in 2010. I've known Wes since 2010. Like, he is, not only have I known him the longest, but like, yeah, we just won All Stars 3 together. Coming into this house, like, I will say I was the least prepared I've ever been. Usually I kind of have some sense of like, oh, who's going? Oh, maybe we can kind of figure out the theme. This time I was like completely in the dark. I was just so stoked to have the opportunity. I'm like, yes, Jonna 2.0. I now get to test myself against other people that are on my level, No, I was not ready for this game. Okay.
That's okay.
I will say this about Wes. I was joking earlier that it was like a little rocky because so the whole me voting in Michelle thing, I 100% blame on him, which I need to clear his name. Okay. He didn't tell me to vote for Michelle, guys. he was basically being the nice guy that he is. And he's like, okay, you're my ally, you're my friend. He was trying to, because he knows that I like live under a rock when I'm not on the challenge. Like, I don't know who any of these people are. Okay. I had no clue that Tori and Amanda didn't like each other. I had no clue why everyone was laughing that Josh, Bananas, and Polly were on the same team, my team. I was in the dark. Okay. So he was basically just trying to say like, hey, okay. So breaking down the players, he's like, okay, Michelle, some people think, she's emotional and all over the place. So maybe stay away from her as far as allies go. He'd never said, John A, vote Michelle in. He would have definitely advised against that. So, but yeah, so I will say, some people are like, oh, being aligned with Wes is what it is. But I trust him more than I trust anybody. And, at this point, I'm not sure if he wants to be my ally anymore, but we may have broken up as number one. So.
Oh, whatever. No, you guys will be back on together and everything will be just fine. Now, Jonna, what led to your ultimate demise in this season, unfortunately, is that the CBS newbies were bound and determined to get the MTV Best Out, specifically the 2 female champs. So what were your thoughts on them wanting to do that and then ultimately being successful in doing so?
Listen, I get hats off to them. Props to them, because like I said before, normally you play a game where it's like you have a few handful of people, strategic people you have to worry about. This game is literally all strategy, all the people, all the best of the best, right? So I knew coming into this, or I didn't know, but quickly figured out that literally it was 18 versus 6. And was it really 18 versus 6? It was like 18 versus like 2.5, the only goal that everybody there had in common was we need to get these bets out. It was for the first time I experienced walking into a game with a target bigger than I was prepared for. Like, you know what I mean? First of all, we have 18 versus 6. Then they're like, hey, let's throw them on jet skis to come in and crash the party. They already hate us. Okay. They're like, we had to come on a boat. You guys get your own jet skis, whatever. And then I was first round draft pick for the second time, and then they're like, okay, yeah, let's just carry a statue of Johnny up a mountain. Like, okay, guys, like, it was so bad. There was no hiding in this one. And I don't think usually I'm able to like kind of ease in, feel people out. No, I was public enemy number 1 from the jump. Actually, I think Tori was. And I think that indirectly, like, so say like the red team had won, the goal was to get Tori out. Like, and then they're just like, I don't care as long as it's a bet, So it was just not, so this leads into like the whole Michelle thing, right? I knew that like my back was up against the wall no matter what I did. Like I was already like 5 steps back from everybody. Like everybody was already like, she's got to go, So I was the type of player that I am. I'm very like strategic, and it's almost my demise, like to be in my own head. And immediately as I started learning the rules, and TJ's like, okay, there's this layer, there's this layer, there's this layer. And my mind just was spinning. And I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be the worst game ever. So I was like, I'm going to die. So I was like, I basically have no options. And the only thing that I can do is maybe try to use my vote, take this one take this big risk. And if it works out in my favor, it'll better my position later on. Now, I probably should have waited until like the 3rd challenge or a little bit, not day 1. But hey, in my defense, like they told me it was going to be a secret vote. TJ lied to me.
He did lie to you. He manipulated you.
He did. He's like, this is going to be a secret vote. And then he's like, just kidding. Here's a Jumbotron. Like, like what the heck?
You were exposed. Yeah, absolutely.
So
now tell me what
when I did that, I didn't think that anybody would, obviously find out about it. But I basically broke down the game, and like in my head, I was like, who here is just as lethal of a player as me? Who is just as strategic as I am? Like, I knew that I was like starting to align with some Big Brother people, and I knew that there were no cracks in the Survivor people. They were like silent, lethal, force to be reckoned with. And so I was like, I'm going to take my vote and my shot to somehow make a crack in this alliance, right?
Yeah.
Had it worked out, it may have helped me with other alliances and people and different things, but
That's not how it panned out. Yeah, and that's okay. So I have to know, what was it like competing against Tori? Obviously, another female champ and a friend of yours. So what was that like having to do that?
Well, if you had to do balls in against somebody, who would you pick?
Not Tori.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. You get it. No, it was hard. It definitely was. So, we had a moment before, and I said this earlier, but we had a moment right before, and she was so distraught. Like, she was just like, I don't have very many friends in this game. Like, this sucks. Like, what are we going to do? I know you left your family for this. And I was just like, listen, I'm going all in, balls to the wall. So I expect you to do the same. Champions respect champions. And I'm just like, I know that we're here for different reasons, but like, this is your game too. Like, you got to go all in. So I will say it was, she's a beast, dude. Hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it at the time because it's like when you're a competitor, you just like see red, and I don't feel pain when I'm in the moment. But yeah, the next day I was a little sore, but.
Definitely some after effects. I love that. Okay, Jonna, my final question. I think the fans are always curious to know this about you. Is there still more ahead in your challenge career? Are we going to continue to see you on our screens?
You know what? So it's so funny. I was I feel like I'm just going to answer yes, because so basically I can't leave my challenge career going home second. Like, come on. I go from back to first round draft pick in the global to you're going home first, So I will say I hope that I get the chance again in the future to come back. I feel like for me, I kind of like conquered the all-stars thing, and like a lot of fans or people say like, oh, you only won this because you're competing against old people, whatever. I know that that's not true. And I am more confident in myself now. And I basically want to test myself against these competitors, dude, and like prove that, I don't have anything to prove as far as like, oh, I deserve my wins. Like a win's a win, whatever. CT actually just told me that. He's like, Jonna, who cares what people say? Win's a win. You're a champion. I was like, oh my God, coming from the champ, But yeah, so for me, I definitely want to, for personal things, prove that I have what it takes. So yeah, and I can't end on, episode 2, leave. So
exactly.
I was so excited to be on CBS, and I was like, oh my gosh. And now there's 2 episodes a week. So I'm like, I was literally on CBS for a week.
Yeah, there goes to week 1. Yeah, exactly. Hey, well, that's okay. Jonna, this has been seriously such a pleasure. I was so excited to get the chance to speak with you, and we really hope to see you back on our screens sometime soon. Thanks so much.